Netflix, Warner Brothers, and Trump.
Now, US President Donald Trump has said he will be involved in a proposed merger between Netflix and Warner Brothers. Although Trump did not say whether he favored approval for the deal, he pointed to a potential concentration of market power in the entertainment industry. Now, the statement very interestingly comes after Netflix agreed on Friday to buy out Warner Bros. For a whopping $72 billion US dollars.
Thailand unleashes airstrikes as border war with Cambodia explodes.
Thailand launched airstrikes into Cambodia on Monday as fighting flared along their disputed border. Both countries accused the other of violating a ceasefire brokered by US President Donald Trump. Both Thailand and Cambodia are evacuating civilians as fighting escalates along their disputed border. A Thai army spokesperson said at least one Thai soldier had been killed and 8 were wounded in the fresh clashes, adding that air support was called in to hit Cambodian military targets. Meanwhile, Cambodia's defense ministry said Thai military had launched dawn attacks on its forces at 2 locations, following days of provocative actions, and added that Cambodian troops had not responded. 3 Cambodian civilians had been seriously injured in the fighting so far, according to a senior provincial official. Thailand and Cambodia have for more than a century contested sovereignty at undemarcated points along the 508-mile land border, first mapped in 1907 by France when it ruled Cambodia as a colony. The simmering dispute between the countries erupted into a 5-day conflict in July before a ceasefire deal was brokered by Malaysian Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim and Trump, who witnessed the signing of the peace agreement in Kuala Lumpur in October. However, Thailand said it was halting the implementation of the truce with Cambodia last month, following a landmine blast that maimed one of its soldiers. Thailand has repeatedly accused Cambodia of planting fresh landmines along parts of their disputed border, which have seriously injured at least 7 Thai soldiers since July. Phnom Penh denies the charge.
Trump considers fresh tariffs on Indian rice as US farmers allege unfair dumping. This comes after US farmers urge tougher action, arguing that subsidized rice imports are battering US markets and pushing domestic prices down. Donald Trump vowed to take care of the issue and pressed officials to identify countries accused of undercutting US markets. US President Donald Trump signaled that his administration is ready to consider fresh tariffs on agricultural imports, including Canadian fertilizer and Indian rice, as he confronted farmers' complaints about cheap foreign goods undercutting US producers, according to Bloomberg.
But I wish I was here under better terms. I'll tell you, I think the rice industry thanks you sincerely for what you have done for the California rice market and to Japan. It has been monumental for our industry, but us in the South are really struggling. I mean, this is not just a crisis. I would say it's almost a market dynamics that really are true anti-competitive nature, right? So it follows what you sent out this weekend. And we do believe that countries are dumping rice into this country today. We've never seen imports this great.
Which countries?
India, Thailand, even China into Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico used to be one of the largest markets for U.S. rice. We haven't shipped rice into Puerto Rico in years. So this has been happening for years. This didn't start during your administration, but unfortunately, we're seeing it in a much bigger way now. The tariffs are working, but we need to double down because
you want more. I mean,
they're cheating, right? They're they're
it's solved so quickly with tariffs to these countries that are illegally shipping. It's solved. Your problem is solved in one day. That's why we have to win the Supreme Court case. In one day, that problem's solved. It's so unfair. They go out of business. They put everyone out of business. That's what they did to our car. We lost more than 50% of our car industry because of that. We lost our chip industry. Went to Taiwan because of that. If you had a president that said, no, you can't do that, it's 100% or 200% tariff on chips if you make them outside of the United, we would have never lost our chip industry. But we're going to have 40 or 50% of it back very shortly, because they're all coming in now from Taiwan. They're building chip companies. But it's the same thing with rice. Thank you, darling, very much.
Thank
Really
you.
nice. Well, it'll be good. We'll
Thank you.
get it solved very quickly. We just need the countries. We just give us the names of the countries.
Regarding the recent statement by the US President on Indian rice imports in the United States market, the Indian Rice Exporters Federation would like to clarify the market dynamics and the Indo-US rice trade. US is an important market for India. In the last preceding financial year 24-25, India exported basmati rice worth $337 million, weighing approximately 270,000 metric tons to the US market. This places the US market as the fifth largest market for Indian basmati rice. Similarly, when we talk about non-basmati rice, in the similar period, India exported $57 million worth of non-basmati rice to the US market, weighing about 61,000 metric tons. This places US as the 24th largest market for Indian non-basmati rice. Now first we have to understand that who is the buyer for this non-basmati and basmati rice in the US market. It is people from the Gulf and the subcontinent region, primarily people of Afghani, Iraqi, Irani, Indian, Bangladeshi and Pakistani origin are the primary consumer of Indian rice in the US market. All the exports of the US market are demand driven. They are placed based on advance orders from US importers. And India is not dumping any rice in the US market, where, however, and the demand remains robust and resilient. We have seen that before the tariff situation, the Indian tariffs stood at 10% for any rice exported to the US. This was later on increased to 50%. Even though there was a steep increase of 40% in the tariff rates, we have seen that the Indian exports have not fallen. This is primarily because of the reason that Indian rice has to be consumed by people who need it. It is not a favor which the US consumer is doing on India, but it is the requirement of the US market. We have seen that the prices in the domestic market in the US have consistently increased. Because of this tariff hike, earlier a 10-pound bag, which is the most popular packaging in the US market, was being sold for approximately 13 USD for per bag. After the tariff situation, this has increased to about $18 to $19 per bag. This means that while largely the realization for Indian farmers and Indian exporters have remained consistent, however, all the tariff hike has been borne by the US consumer, who has borne the brunt of this tariff increase, which has resulted in domestic food inflation in the US market.
Like, under a court order, Epstein documents and 65,000 photos are released. Many feature Trump confidant Bannon, Bill Clinton, Woody Allen, Prince Andrew et al. Highly objectionable Trump material. It's cherry-picking by Dems, said Republicans. Maybe.
They've just released a new tranche, a new batch of photos from the Jeffrey Epstein estate. Those include, among others, former President Bill Clinton, the Republican strategist Steve Bannon, the billionaire Bill Gates, Richard Branson, and of course, most politically germanely, President Donald Trump. We can see on these pictures, one image released today shows what appears to be a bowl of novelty condoms with a caricature of Trump's face. A bowl has a sign on it saying Trump condom $4.50, each condom bearing an image of Trump's face with the text, "I'm huge." Another shows Trump with 6 women with whose faces have been redacted by the committee.
There were new Epstein photos released today showing you and also Bill Clinton, Steve Bannon. What were your reaction to those new photos that were released
Well,
today?
I haven't seen it, but I mean, everybody knew this man. He was all over Palm Beach. He has photos with everybody. I mean, almost, there are hundreds and hundreds of people that have photos with him. So that's no big deal. I know nothing about it.
You are watching Sanglikar's Weekly.
Like, Wall Street Journal reported a raid by US forces in Indian Ocean on a ship from China to Iran. Not reported by all newspapers.
An American special operations team allegedly raided a ship headed to Iran from China in the Indian Ocean last month, the Wall Street Journal reported, citing U.S. officials. The American forces seized military-related articles from the ship, the report said. The cargo contained components that Iran could potentially use for its conventional weapons, an official said.
Days after the United States seized an oil tanker off the coast of Venezuela, it has come to light that U.S. forces had raided a ship headed to Iran from China last month. Now, according to a report in the Wall Street Journal, the raid was carried out by a U.S. Special Operations team in the Indian Ocean. Military-related articles headed to Iran from China were seized on the operation or in the operation. The ship was reportedly several hundred kilometers off the coast of Sri Lanka. Now, according to the Wall Street Journal report, the raid was part of the Pentagon's efforts to disrupt Iran's clandestine military procurement. The report further claims that the seized cargo consisted of dual-use items. These are items which have both civilian and military applications. This is the first time in recent years that the U.S. military is known to have intercepted cargo of Chinese origin on its way to Iran. Coupled the seizure of the Venezuelan oil tanker, the development marks the Trump administration's use of aggressive maritime tactics against its adversaries. The report comes on a day when Iranian media reported that Tehran had seized an oil tanker in the Gulf of Oman. And according to Iran's Fars news agency, the oil tanker was carrying 6 million liters of contraband diesel fuel and had disabled all its navigation systems. This is not the first time that the U.S. has seized weapons and oil belonging to Iran. In January last year, the U.S. Central Command seized Iranian-made ballistic and cruise missile components near the coast of Somalia. The components were allegedly headed to the Houthis in Yemen. Back in 2020 and in 2023, the U.S. had seized Iranian oil shipments, saying they were benefiting the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps.
Like crypto mogul Do Kwon is sentenced to 15 years in jail for fraud.
The crypto world just saw a historic sentencing. Do Kwon, the founder of Terraform Labs, has been sentenced to 15 years in U.S. federal prison for one of the largest financial collapses the crypto industry has ever seen. His company's so-called stablecoin, Terra USD, was marketed as safe, locked to $1, until it collapsed to just 9 cents, erasing nearly $40 billion almost overnight. Investors across the globe were impacted, many losing life savings. After going on the run and being caught overseas with false documents, Kwon was extradited to the United States, where a federal judge described the fraud as generational in scale. Trendsetters, this case sends a clear message. Big ideas without accountability come with big consequences.
Finally, criminal scammer Do Kwon has been arrested. A lot of people that blew up because of Luna have been trying to say like, oh, it was kind of like an honest attempt at doing some blah, blah, blah algorithmic stablecoin. This thing actually was a Ponzi. And so I just wanted to quickly lay out exactly what I and lots of other people saw. 3 components. There was the Luna run-of-the-mill shitcoin. There was UST, which was their attempt at a stablecoin. They called it an algorithmic stablecoin. And then third, there was the Anchor protocol. So you check UST into the Anchor protocol and they would give you like 18 to 20% interest. Terra and some others were putting up the money to pay this interest. And I was like, oh, this is super shady. Why would they do that? Well, clearly they must be making more money out the back end somehow. And that's exactly what they were doing. Insiders already called it the Luna Ponzi for 6 months before it collapsed, because it actually was a Ponzi. And now Do Kwon will soon be behind bars, and Mashinsky, hopefully from Celsius, will follow soon. But Do Kwon won that race.
Next news item, oh, it's breaking fast. Next news item, blink and it's gone.
Pakistan PM gate crash. The moment PM Sharif gate crashed Putin's meeting with Erdogan after waiting for 40 minutes. PM Sharif waited for over 40 minutes for President Putin before growing tired and gate-crashing Russian leaders meeting with Erdogan, reports RT correspondent. PM Sharif left 10 minutes later.
There has been a diplomatic moment that has triggered widespread online reaction, as Pakistan's Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif, after waiting 40 minutes for a delayed scheduled meeting with Russian President Vladimir Putin, walked into a closed-door discussion between Putin and Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan at a major international forum in Turkmenistan. And in this report we explain how the incident unfolded, why it matters, and what it reveals about regional diplomatic dynamics. The incident occurred at a high-level international forum in Turkmenistan commemorating the 30th anniversary of the country's officially recognized status of permanent neutrality, a doctrine endorsed unanimously by the United Nations General Assembly in 1995, committing Turkmenistan to abstain from military alliances, avoid involvement in conflicts except in self-defense, and generally prohibit foreign military bases on its territory. Pakistan's Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif was scheduled to hold a bilateral meeting with Russian President Vladimir Putin on the sidelines of the event, a meeting anticipated to cover regional cooperation, energy discussions, and Pakistan's diplomatic outreach to Moscow. According to reports and video shared by RT India, Sharif waited in an adjacent room for approximately 40 minutes alongside Pakistan's Foreign Minister Ishaq Dar, and as the delay extended with no clarity about the meeting's status, the Prime Minister appeared increasingly impatient. Eventually, Sharif decided to walk directly into the venue where President Putin was already engaged in a closed-door conversation with Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan, with the apparent intention of securing at least a brief interaction with the Russian leader despite the disruption to his original schedule. Sharif is reported to have remained inside for roughly 10 minutes before departing, and while the content of the brief exchange remains unknown, the optics of the moment quickly drew attention. The moment, captured on camera and circulated online by RT India, rapidly gained traction across social media platforms including X, with users framing the unexpected entry as a diplomatic misstep and producing memes and pointed commentary that amplified global attention on the episode. Some users mocked the situation harshly, with one writing that Putin does not want to waste his time on beggars, while another noted that even Trump did the same with these beggars, underscoring the degree of ridicule directed at the Pakistani leader in the digital public sphere. Beyond the viral moment, the forum itself marked an important diplomatic milestone for Turkmenistan, whose neutral status shapes its foreign policy posture by limiting military alliances and foreign basing, while reinforcing its positioning as a venue for multilateral dialogue and regional mediation. The brief and unconventional interaction leaves lingering questions about whether this was simply a scheduling miscommunication or a reflection of shifting diplomatic hierarchies, and the moment continues to circulate widely as governments and analysts evaluate its implications for Pakistan's diplomatic approach and its outreach to Moscow.
Europe levying fine on Google and Elon Musk's X.
The European Commission on Friday has also imposed a €120 million penalty on Elon Musk's social media platform X. The fine was imposed for breaching European Union's online content rules.
The European Union's €120 million fine on Elon Musk's X has triggered a full-blown war of words between Washington and Brussels, while the EU has been aggressively enforcing its digital laws, most recently hitting Google with penalties totaling more than $3 billion. It is the action against X that has sparked a sharp political backlash. Brussels says X violated the Digital Services Act by using a deceptive blue check system, withholding public data from researchers and failing to provide clear advertising transparency. EU officials insist the case is about compliance and transparency, not censorship.
But let's continue to believe the story that Sanchar Sati is more dangerous than Google.
A 7.6 magnitude earthquake has struck off Japan's northeastern coast. The quake was felt at about 11:15 p.m. local time. There's a tsunami advisory in place for Miyagi and Fukushima, where up to 90,000 people have been told to evacuate. The country's nuclear plants, such as Fukushima, have been reviewed and apparently pose no risk.
Japan government has downgraded tsunami warning to tsunami advisory after earthquake. 7.6 magnitude earthquake struck near Japan. 50 centimeter tsunami recorded at Kuji port in Japan, and as per reports, several people were injured after the 7.6 magnitude earthquake. Evacuation orders were also issued in Japan, but as per the latest detail, we're learning that Japan government has now downgraded the tsunami warning to tsunami advisory after the 7.6 magnitude earthquake strike.
Like, Prada has signed a deal for Kolhapuri Chatpals. Prada will sell them at rupees 84,000.
A 700-year-old Indian craft is stepping into the world of luxury. Prada is partnering with India's iconic Kolhapuri chappal. On December 11, 2025, Prada signed an MOU with Maharashtra's Lidcom and Lidcart to create a global collection. Prada, made in India, inspired by Kolhapuri chappals. This exclusive line launches worldwide in February 2026 across 40 Prada boutiques. Let us know about Kolhapuri chappal. They are not just footwear. They are the heritage handcrafted across 8 districts of Maharashtra and Karnataka. Each pair is made from specially treated leather, burnished by hand and stitched without nails. Their durability, earthy elegance and comfort made them so iconic that they received a GI tag in 2019. Every pair carries the story of generation of artisans. Now, for the first time, this timeless craft is merging with high-end global design. Prada's collaborations means international recognition, fair credit, training and sustainable income for artisans. Piyush Goyal even sees potential for $1 billion in Kolhapuri exports in the coming years. A craft born in Kolhapur, shaped by heritage and perfected by hands that carry history, is about to walk global runways. Because when the world slips into the Kolhapuri chappal, they are not just wearing footwear, they are wearing India's legacy.
Prada got hit by a chappal. Prada just dropped a 75,000 rupee sandal and Indian said, "Bhai, ye to Kolhapuri hai." But no mention of India. No mention of Kolhapur, no mention of artisans who've been making it since 800 years. Even Kareena Kapoor and other influencers joined the chorus. They said, at least say thanks before you put a 1 lakh price tag on our chappal. After all the online chappal thrashing, Prada finally updated its description and gave India the due credit. Lesson? Well, you can't just walk off in our chappals and expect no one to notice.
Like, Australia has banned children under 16 from social media. Good.
Social media ban for children under the age of 16 will come into effect. The legislation is aimed at protecting children from cyberbullying, online predators and harmful content. It's been a heated debate worldwide. The tech giant Reddit is the latest to say it will comply with the new law but has described it as arbitrary. Instagram and Facebook have already started shutting down accounts of people under 16. Some popular apps and websites, including WhatsApp, are exempt.
For the good of Kirsty. For the good of Lucy and Anya.
Australia is about to try an ambitious experiment to be the first country in the world to boot young teens off social media. The message from the government is clear.
For the good of their well-being.
The law means a return to the good life and an end to the angst felt by parents watching their kids' lives online. With the ban coming in just as the summer holidays begin, kids here all have an opinion on what the government's doing.
Sanglikars Weekly. And Austria has banned, with effect from September 26, hijab and burqa below 14. What's the logic in 14 years?
Imagine being told your faith is not allowed in school. Austria has passed a new law banning headscarves in schools for girls under the age of 14. The ban applies to both public and private schools. If a student wears a hijab, schools must intervene, involve guardians, and in repeated cases, even notify child welfare services. Families could face fines of up to $800. The government says this is about protecting girls, but critics warn it unfairly, targets Muslim children and fuels Islamophobia. For many Muslims, the hijab is not oppression. It's identity, faith, and choice.
Austria's National Council on December 11th overwhelmingly approved a controversial hijab ban for girls under 14 in all private and public schools, a move critics say is discriminatory and risks deepening societal divisions. The law is expected to face challenges before the Constitutional Court.
Und ich möchte in diesem Zusammenhang auch festhalten und es einmal mehr unterstreichen, dass das Kopftuch an Kindern kein einfaches religiöses Symbol ist. Es ist auch kein harmloses Stück Stoff. Es ist ein Zeichen der Unterdrückung und dagegen wehren wir uns als Gesellschaft und genau dafür.
This is not the first time Vienna's anti-Muslim sentiment has pushed for such legislation. In 2019, the country introduced a ban on hijabs in primary schools, but the Constitutional Court struck it down. The ban is set to be implemented from the start of the new school year in September 2026 and will affect an estimated 12,000 girls. Parents who fail to comply will face fines ranging from $175 to $930. Rights groups argue that banning the hijab is a form of control over what women and girls choose to wear, rather than allowing them the freedom to decide for themselves.
Sanglikars Weekly.
Like, Iran has arrested Nobel laureate Narges Mohammadi. Said,
Iranian security forces have arrested a prominent activist and Nobel Peace Prize winner. Narges Mohammadi was detained at a memorial for a human rights lawyer who died under suspicious circumstances. Several other activists were held in the eastern city of Mashhad. 53-year-old Mohammadi was a celebrated campaigner for democracy and women's rights. She was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize in 2023 while incarcerated at Iran's notorious Evin prison. The Nobel Committee has condemned her arrest as brutal.
Sanglikars Weekly.
Like, in UK they are debating abolition of jury system. Over 60 years behind India.
David Lammy is set to scrap jury trials and remove your automatic right to appeal. Juries will only hear cases of murder, rape and manslaughter. Now, think about what this means practically. Take the case of Jamie Michael. Labour Party staff members reported him to police for a video he did about illegal immigration. He was charged, he went to court, a jury found him not guilty in just 17 minutes. But what if only the judge had heard that case? We hear a lot about left-wing activist judges, and now they may be given even more power. 75% of all cases will be heard by a single judge, so they can sentence you to anything up to 5 years, and you could lose your automatic right to appeal that decision. This is really sinister. And the head of the Criminal Bar Association said Lammy was about to, quote, destroy a criminal justice system that's been the pride of this country for centuries, and to destroy justice as we know it. Well,
Sanglikars Weekly.
Defendants could lose the right to trial by jury under a shake-up designed to save the court system from collapse. Former Judge Sir Brian Leveson proposes restricting jury trials to only the most serious offences and creating a new type of Crown Court where trials are heard only by judges. The record backlog means that some cases in England and Wales are listed for trial in 2029.
I respect juries and I admire the conscientious way in which they go about their business. But it can't be right that all cases, however large or small, necessarily get that treatment. As somebody has said, it may be that a jury system is Rolls-Royce, but if there are many cars on the road, the Rolls-Royce isn't moving.
Like, Katy Perry and Justin Trudeau have made their relationship public. Good luck, Katy.
Well, Kylie's a little upset with this. Her husband, however, is pretty happy. There's a new it couple in town as Katy Perry and former Canadian PM Justin Trudeau make it kind of official.
Yeah, it's all official. For more, we're joined by entertainment editor Peter Ford. They were spotted together, holding hands, celebrating Katie's birthday. It wasn't a far-off shot on a yacht, which some people dismissed as...
Yeah, foolish people. Justin and Katie sitting in a tree, and they chose very much to make this official and public. On Saturday night, her 41st birthday, they were at the very famous nightclub in Paris, Crazy Horse, and they chose to walk out those doors hand in hand, just to make sure if there was any room for doubt, they were hand in hand. So, yeah, it is most definitely on. Where will it go? Now, that'll be interesting because she still has only another 6 weeks of her world tour left. After that, she's got a lot of downtime. Next year, she only has about 7 festival gigs booked. As for Justin, well, no one quite knows what he's doing these days. He's got a very good parliamentary pension. He gets that until he's 67 years old. He has been living in Ottawa. The belief is he's been planning to move to Montreal. Now, whether that's going to change, we don't know. Katie's primary residence is in Los Angeles. So it's very much a case of watch and wait and see, but they clearly are very happy for us to know that it is absolutely on.
And finally, just a question. If jumping burns calories, how many calories do you burn by jumping to conclusions?
Jumping rope burns like 1,000 calories an hour? That's gotta be some AI nonsense. All right, so this handle's supposed to tell me how many calories I've burned. Haven't done it in years, possibly decades. Everyone on Discord says I'm old. They say that if you're over 26. 200 jumps, 20 calories burned. Oh, look, it's 21 now, just from me moving it. 21 is not a lot of calories. All right, gonna set a timer for 5 minutes. Let's multiply that by...
It's just a question of a question. एक सवाल का सवाल है. दुनिया बदल दे सारी सही सवाल का यही कमाल है. कर ले एक सवाल कर ले कर कमाल कर ले कोई सवाल कर ले.
Lazy Bee. The 13th of December, 2025.